Hello.
So I
Hi,
want
Simran, ma'am.
you
Yeah.
and you guys can
Hi, Ratan.
Hello. How are you doing, ma'am?
Very good. आप
Very good.
बताएं.
First of all, many congratulations to you, Anna, and the Koparo company that you have achieved a,
Thank you.
great milestone in, entrepreneurial journey so far ahead, and I hope that to have a, bright future ahead of you.
Thank you.
So basically, I would like to know, like, how was, journey, entrepreneur journey, and how did you come up with this idea with the brand Koparo?
Right. So I have about, close to about 18 years of work experience, 15 before I started Koparo,
Mm-hmm.
and then 3 after. So I'm not a startup founder in that sense that I was not building this out of my garage or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of Koparo came to me in the pandemic. I was scrubbing every surface in my house clean, and I realized that in my very well-meaning efforts to actually scrub every surface clean, I was actually building up more toxins in the
Mm-hmm.
house
Okay.
because a lot of the everyday cleaning products we're using are actually filled with fairly toxic, fairly harmful chemicals. Whether it's a dye or it's ammonia or it's bleach. And this got me thinking that there has to be potential over here. There's while I have no formal experience in running a cleaning brand, I've never sold laundry detergents in my life, but I just felt like there had to be some potential here. We researched it, we started working on formulations, and then in February of 2021, we were able to launch Koparo. We started with a small range, and the mission is very simple that, there has to be a better way to make cleaners which use plant-derived ingredients, cleaners which happen to be safer for kids, safer for pets, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why we went for it.
So, like, is it also about, collaborating with pharmaceuticals of chemical industries in any such way?
Not at all. No, we have no connections with any pharma companies.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there is formulations are designed in an R&D lab, and we work with them. For these formulations, we own the formulations. They've been designed to certain briefs of efficacy, but no, we have no connection with any pharma company beyond that.
Okay, okay. So, like, not talking about the, Shark Tank, like, how was,
Yes.
your experience for the pitch? Like, how did you prepare it? Were there any challenges, while the pitching process for you?
Right. So it's a grand show. I think it's a truly a nation building show. I think India as a country, entrepreneurship is very top of mind. Uh, in the young generation, if you ask the Gen Zs or millennials,
Mm-hmm.
I would hazard a guess that maybe 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 will say that they actually want to have a business of their own, right? And that is phenomenal. And I think Shark Tank has really tapped into that psyche,
Mm-hmm.
and which is why they have record viewership numbers, which is why startup brands line up to be able to be a part of Shark Tank. So the
Right.
process is actually very transparent and very well organized. It starts like almost 7, 8 months before the show goes on air. There's there's a website where you're allowed to register, fill up a form, put in, details of your business, post which there are, audition rounds. And then the final audition actually happens when you actually have to reach Mumbai. And you're never called for like one day, you're actually called for multiple days. So, for example, we were called for 3 days, 2 days of prep and one day of actual pitch. In the prep, there's a lot of effort that the Sony team puts in terms of fine tuning your pitches, giving you, a Hindi script, which will be better related to the audience, so the target audience can actually understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
They will also, do mock prep with you regarding various business questions they feel the sharks will certainly ask.
Mm-hmm.
And so, really those 2 days are like a boot camp, So there's a group of 8 to 10 businesses who get shot on the third day, but they literally go through this boot camp before, So from your hair and your makeup to your styling to the business questions to where to stand on the stage when you stand on the stage,
Mm-hmm.
all of that is where you get input. And the final pitch is, it's about an hour or an hour and a half where the contestant actually pitches to the sharks. There are no cuts. It's very, very real. It's very, very intense. And yes, you have to take a decision whether or not you're getting an offer or if there is a, twist in the offer, if you need to consult anybody
Right.
else in your team or a current investor or the board, you're allowed a certain time out to go and make that call. But it's very much, I would say, unscripted and pure reality.
Right, right. I actually had this question, on top of that, but then gracefully answered it. Like it's not scripted at all. So because many a
Not at
times
all.
the
Yeah.
shows, reality shows have this because it is being watched. Like so many people have looking out. Your Gen Z millennials are looking out, following the show. So they have this pressure of
Right.
being scripted. But like in right, you are rightly
Not
answered.
at
It's
all.
not.
See, I
Yeah.
mean, the founder is the content, right? So the
Right.
founder pitch is the content of Shark Tank, right? They want it to be as authentic as possible.
Right.
The Shark Tanks, the sharks in the Shark Tank interacting with the founder and the entrepreneurs and their teams, that is again the entertainment of the show. So they keep it very, very raw, very, very unfiltered. But what is good is that because of that 2 days before and that level of preparation and help that is given by the Sony team, it is much easier for you to cope, in that 1.5 hours that you're there. And of course, post that, आपने टीवी पे देखा होगा कि the pitch is actually 15 to 18 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
but the obviously you are in the tank for longer, and there are various cuts of it which happen, but it's a very real conversation with very solid inputs coming in. And these sharks are not, I mean, they have run real businesses. They are very, very celebrated figures.
Right.
They know what they're talking about. So it's a very useful 1.5 hours for the entrepreneur.
Right, right, right. Can you discuss any of your, negotiation and deal making strategies that you employed during the show, and like how they have evolved, like post show, how they have impacted you? If you could
Right.
like to share.
So, I mean, we had gone in, wanting 70 lakhs, 1%, and that's what we got. So honestly, for us, it was a very, very positive show. I obviously had, certain valuation numbers in my mind and, certain amount of capital that I would like to have raised. I think as a founder, it's important to know what is that walkaway figure, if it simply is not working for you, because no matter what it is, right, you should never come out of a deal feeling like it wasn't good for you, right? So it's just good to know what are your boundaries. And then it's a fluid situation because as much as a negotiation is about the numbers, it is also about animal spirits and about the emotions, and the worth, right? Because
Right.
there's a high possibility that a founder feels that a particular shark can add, value to their business in many different ways. And there's perhaps a value that he or she puts on that. So it's a bit not the same answer for each business, I would say. But I was very clear that I did want to bring Aman and Vineeta, and I did want to dilute only 1%, and it worked out for me.
Right, right, right. Were there any unexpected challenges, that did it, thought that they were coming in your way, or during the Shark Tank experience?
So not really. I mean, I would not say unexpected because there's a very standard template, which the Sony team preps you for, right? There has to be some element of you always begin with your pitch,
Right.
which is your monologue, After that, you always tell them a little bit about yourself, right? There is obviously question on your revenues, on your scale, on your profitability. There will be questions on the market. So it is very standard in that sense. And therefore, if you have prepared all those aspects, then you are absolutely fine and there is no big challenge. I think what can happen though is that obviously you're sitting in a large set and the spotlight's on you and there's 5 sharks in front of you, very, very experienced.
Right.
So it can be intimidating. Certainly it can. But yeah, by and large, they're good people. Yeah, they're nice people, and they want you to succeed, right? I mean, even whether it is Sony. I mean, the thing is that the more the founders are getting deals, or the more positively the products are being received, it's better, right? So I think the goal is like you are वो होता है ना जब आप स्कूल में होते हो, आप रेसिटेशन दे रहे हो, आपको बहुत डर लग रहा है. The
Right.
reality is everybody in the audience wants you to give a good recitation. Your
Right.
teachers
Right.
also do want that. So it's a bit like that. You have to understand that you are the content, and everybody wants this to go really well. Now you just have to be less nervous, be less anxious, and be more prepared.
Right, right, right. Also, like in retrospect, is there anything you have done differently in your pitch or while negotiating during the process?
I think it's important to know. So in our case, we had raised funds previously, so there was a past valuation, figure, and therefore it was useful because you are able to explain that you've anchored them right to a certain number. कि इतना तो था मेरे पास.
Right.
उसके बाद it is about saying that why should my valuation have increased, and you have to have good reason for it. For example, you can say that my revenues have gone from X to Y, and therefore my valuation should go from A to B, right? Or my, my sort of, I have added additional categories, and the potential of those categories is so much, and hence my valuation should go from X to Y. I think it's very important to give the sharks also, ways to look at your valuation, right? Because just as much of pressure the founder is in, even the sharks have to take the decision on the spot, right? And they have to completely be guided by the numbers and the logic the founder is throwing. So there should be a logic, yeah. चाहे तुम्हारी जो भी लॉजिक हो, आपका लॉजिक साउंड होना चाहिए और आपका लॉजिक क्लियर होना चाहिए.
Right, right, right. Correct. Like what are your can you share some memorable moments, like what is impactful moments that you had time with Shark Tank India, like?
Many, of course, the biggest high was that we wanted to get a valuation of 70 crores, and we wanted to dilute only 1%, and that's exactly what happened. My dream sharks were Aman and Vineeta, because I think they're just terrific, at building brands in India and really understanding the psyche of the millennial customer. And I'm very delighted that they also bought into my vision and they believed in me. I think the other highlights for me was that, in general, while I did not do a deal as such with Peeyush, he did want to make an offer, and Anupam did make an offer, but I wanted to go with Aman and Vineeta's offer. And Ritesh did say that, he and I are in touch on LinkedIn, and the idea is for us to figure out ways to use Koparo in Oyo more broadly. So I feel that very, very positive for us. One is just the deals that we got, which was a dream deal, which is what we wanted from the sharks that we wanted. But even the sharks who we didn't bring onto our sort of cap table, they said positive things about us, and they saw the market opportunity, and they believe that at our price points, we can get proper market share. So I'm very happy about that.
Great, great, great. So, like, as a successful entrepreneur yourself, do you actively engage in advocacy or initiative to shape policies that affect your industry or the startup ecosystem in general?
I do some amount of advocacy, but not really for startups. I am a mom to an 8-year-old, and I work. I write articles. I help in many other ways, which around sort of women at work. I have a column. I also sort of did work very hard and very successfully at reopening schools which were shut due to the pandemic, and that was almost a year-long effort that I led for Delhi. So, I mean, I do things, but I have more going on in my life than just being a founder. I'm also a mom. Like I said, I'm a working woman, and I care very deeply about both causes, about children having a better quality of education, and about women being at work and remaining at work.
Right, right, right. Great, great, great. So basically, like, what is takeaway from for the upcoming entrepreneurs? Like, what you would like to say about them? Like, how they can create a best perfect pitch that you can present to the Shark Tank team and get what you deserve and How can you process that?
that there is no substitute for hard work and prep.
Mhm.
आप जितना prep कर सकते हो उतनी आपकी wow pitch होगी, you know.
Mhm.
And you get 15 minutes, right? You want to make each minute count. So put in that effort, put in that prep.
Right, right, right. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was lovely talking to you, and
Thank
knowing
you.
about you and knowing about Koparo, and how well they did.
Fabulous.
You did in Shark Tank India platform. It gives us pleasure, joy to know that how the Koparo is seeing future, and helping every household. I hope that it turns out to be great. So I'm wishing you
Thank
all the
you.
future endeavors. All the very best to you. Thank you for interacting.
Thank you
Thank
so
you, ma'am.
much.
Thank
Thank
you, ma'am.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Simran.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.